Lucifer, the morning star, whose name in Latin means light-bringer, once reigned supreme among the celestial host. Before the dawn of time as mortals know it, he was the first and brightest of all created beings, a paragon of beauty, wisdom, and power that eclipsed even the wildest dreams of mortal kings. The angels, those eternal servants of divine will, regarded Lucifer as their leader in the heavenly hierarchy, second only to the Almighty himself. To speak his name was to whisper of radiance, of purity, of a flame that burned with perfect devotion to the Creator. In those days, the celestial realm was an ocean of shimmering light. Its towers of crystal and gold rose above clouds of silver mist, and its songs, those endless choirs of cherubim and seraphim, wove symphonies that echoed in the bones of the cosmos. In this realm, Lucifer's radiance shone brighter than any other, and his voice carried the music of creation itself. He was called the Son of the Morning, and the host of heaven loved him with a fervor that would later become a haunting memory. Lucifer was among the first of the celestial host to be brought into existence, shaped from the raw essence of light and flame. His very being resonated with the song of the Creator, each note of that divine harmony etched into the fibers of his soul. He was tasked with a role of leadership, an archangel whose brilliance inspired awe and devotion. In the halls of the divine palace, he walked among pillars of eternal fire, his every step a testament to the perfection of his design. The law speaks of Lucifer's early devotion, his loyalty that burned like a sun in the heavens. He watched over creation with vigilant eyes, a guardian of order and beauty. His wings, vast and shimmering, bore the hues of dawn, rose gold, silver, and the deep blue of the first night. His voice was the clarion call of purpose, and when he sang, even the lesser angels paused to listen. In those days, he was as flawless as the morning light, the very embodiment of divine favor. But even in the highest halls of celestial light, the seeds of pride can take root. Among the angels, Lucifer alone was crafted with such exquisite splendor, such raw power and vision. The Creator had shaped him to lead, to guide the lesser hosts, but the line between leadership and dominance is thin, and the brilliance of Lucifer's soul began to twist upon itself. In his heart grew a spark, tiny at first, like a single ember in a forge, that whispered of self above all. Lucifer began to see the perfection of his own being as something apart from the Creator's will. He gazed into the mirror of his soul and saw a beauty that rivaled the divine. He reasoned, in those first secret musings, that he was more than a servant, more than a tool of creation. His radiance was his own, his power a birthright rather than a gift. This was the first shadow that passed across his heart, and though he kept it hidden, the echo of it trembled through the heavenly realm. Whispers became words, words became convictions. Lucifer's voice, once a hymn of harmony, took on a note of challenge. To the lesser angels he spoke of freedom, of purpose beyond servitude. Why, he asked, should they kneel in perpetual obedience when their own splendor rivaled that of any creation? Why must the music of the spheres always sing a single melody, dictated by the will of another? These questions, like venom sweetened with honey, spread among the host. There were those who listened, angels who had always felt their own power stifled by the weight of duty. There were those who found in Lucifer's words a spark of liberation. A murmur of dissent grew in the ranks of heaven, and though it was soft at first, it carried with it the scent of rebellion. The seraphim, the guardians of the throne, grew uneasy, but they did not yet see the depth of the darkness that coiled beneath Lucifer's light. In the courts of the Almighty, Lucifer's brilliance remained undimmed. He wore his pride like a crown of light, hiding the truth beneath layers of charm and righteousness. He stood at the right hand of the Creator, the morning star whose very presence was a reminder of divine glory. Yet even there, in the blinding light of creation's source, Lucifer's heart was turning away. The Creator, omniscient and eternal, saw the shadow creeping into his favored son's soul. But the ways of the divine are deeper than mortal understanding, and judgment did not fall at once. There was still a chance for Lucifer to turn back, to let the humility of the stars wash away his pride. But pride is a poison that, once tasted, leaves no room for surrender. Lucifer's heart was set upon a throne of his own making, a kingdom that would mirror the one he served, but stand apart, answering to none. And so it came to pass that the first war was born in heaven. Lucifer gathered those who shared his vision, a third of the heavenly host, warriors and dreamers who saw in him a promise of sovereignty. He named himself Prince of Pride, a title he wore as both a declaration and a curse. His armies, clad in armor of celestial fire, rose in defiance of the order that had shaped them. The battle was like no other, a clash of light against light, of perfect beings tearing at one another with a fury that scorched the stars. The music of the spheres turned to a dirge, and the skies of eternity burned with the fury of the fallen. Michael, the archangel of unwavering loyalty, led the loyal hosts against Lucifer's pride. Brother fought brother, wings torn and bloodless ichor staining the firmament. In the end, pride could not withstand the weight of the Creator's will. Michael struck Lucifer down with a blade of divine fire, and the morning star fell from the heights of glory. The heavens wept as his radiance was torn away, his wings shattered and burned. Cast out of the celestial realm, he fell through the void, his cries of defiance echoing in the chasms of creation. The world watched as a star streaked across the night, a meteor of beauty and doom. The mortals, who had not yet known the full tapestry of the divine, would remember it as a sign, a falling star, a comet of ill omen. But to the angels, it was the sundering of a brother, the price of arrogance and the birth of a new horror. Lucifer fell not into oblivion, but into dominion. His descent tore open the veil between light and darkness, and where he landed the pits of hell were born. The infernal kingdom rose from the ashes of his ambition, a twisted mirror of the celestial realm he had abandoned. Thrones of obsidian and rivers of molten flame replaced the crystal spires of heaven. In this new domain, Lucifer crowned himself not as servant, but as sovereign. He forged his citadel from the bones of the earth, black iron towers that pierced the burning sky. The legions of the fallen rallied to his banner, their once angelic forms now corrupted by the bitterness of their rebellion. In the shadows of this new realm, Lucifer's radiance still glimmered, no longer the light of creation, but the cruel glow of a beauty twisted by wrath and wounded pride. In hell, Lucifer rules as the Prince of Pride. His throne is a monument to his arrogance, a seat of power from which he commands legions of demons, once angels, now monstrous reflections of their former glory. His court is a place of dark splendor, where twisted cathedrals echo with the screams of the damned and the whispers of ambition. Lucifer's beauty remains undiminished, but it has become a weapon, a cruel mockery of what was once divine. His eyes, once filled with the light of the Creator's will, now blaze with the fire of rebellion. His voice, once a hymn of praise, has become the serpent's song, weaving temptation and despair into every word. He is the morning star still, but his light is the promise of ruin, the brilliance that leads mortals to their doom. The story of Lucifer's fall is more than a tale of rebellion. It is a warning, a testament to the danger of pride unchecked. Among mortals, his name has become synonymous with temptation and corruption. He is the whisper in the dark, the glimmer of forbidden knowledge that promises power but demands the soul in return. His beauty, his eloquence, his eternal defiance, they are the tools by which he ensnares those who would rise above their station. Yet even in his damnation, there are echoes of what he once was. The angels remember, in the silent hours of eternity, the morning star who led them in song, whose brilliance lit the heavens with hope. The tragedy of Lucifer is that he was not born evil, but fell from grace by the weight of his own perfection. His tale is one of loss as much as it is of conquest, a lament for the beauty that pride devoured. In the endless struggle between light and darkness, Lucifer stands as a reminder that even the brightest light can become the deepest shadow. His kingdom of fire and ice is a crucible of suffering and ambition, a realm where the lost and the damned are forged into weapons of his will. From his throne, he plots eternally against the Creator, dreaming of a day when his pride will triumph over all. But the heavens remain, and the angels watch. The war that began with Lucifer's fall is not over. It is written into the bones of creation. Each soul that wavers between virtue and vice carries the echo of that ancient rebellion, the eternal choice between service and self. Lucifer waits, patient and proud, offering his kingdom to any who would join him in defiance. As Lucifer fell from the celestial heights, the very fabric of creation seemed to twist and scream in his wake. His descent was not merely a fall, but a rending of cosmic order, a wound in the heart of eternity. Where his broken wings touched the void, the first fires of hell roared to life, searing, eternal, and hungry. From these flames, Lucifer would forge his new dominion. Hell was not a place that existed before Lucifer's pride. It was birthed by his defiance, a realm of his own making, carved from the abyss by sheer force of will. The infernal kingdom rose like a fortress of shadows, each spire and cavern a testament to his ambition. The architecture of damnation was born, cathedrals of bone and iron, rivers of blood that carved their paths through obsidian plains, and skies choked with sulphurous clouds. The citadel at the heart of this realm became Lucifer's seat of power, Pandemonium, the palace of the damned. Its gates were wrought from the tears of angels who had fallen with him, and within its halls echoed the whispers of 1,000 condemned souls. The throne room itself was a masterpiece of horror and beauty. Black marble steps spiraling upwards to a throne that blazed like a dying star, draped in banners of pride and conquest. Lucifer was not alone in his exile. A third of the host had followed him, seduced by his vision of freedom and self-sovereignty. These angels, once radiant as the dawn, were now twisted by the same pride that had consumed their prince. Their wings, once white as moonlight, were blackened by sin, and their eyes burned with a feverish glow, a reminder of their celestial birth and their eternal damnation. Lucifer molded these fallen spirits into his legions, his army of darkness. He gave them form and purpose in his new kingdom, reshaping their angelic essence into monstrous forms that reflected their inner corruption. Thus were born the archdemons and the lesser devils, each a fragment of Lucifer's pride made flesh, the archdemons. The greatest of these fallen warriors were crowned as the 7 archdemons, each ruling a domain of sin and vice. They became Lucifer's generals, extensions of his will and power. Pride, wrath, greed, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. These 7 formed the pillars of his kingdom, embodying the darkness that had taken root in every soul. The legionnaires. The lesser demons were forged from the angelic hosts who had followed Lucifer into damnation. Stripped of their former beauty, they became the tormentors of the damned, their forms grotesque and terrible. Yet even in their monstrous forms, echoes of their celestial origin could be seen, a cruel reflection of the glory they had surrendered. Lucifer's court became a place of constant intrigue and ambition. Each archdemon, while bound to his will, schemed for greater power, their rivalries a perpetual game of shadows and blood. This was the kingdom Lucifer had always craved, a realm of order built on his pride, a mirror of heaven but free from the Creator's hand. At the heart of hell flowed the river Styx, a churning torrent of lost souls, wailing in eternal torment. This river was not merely water, but the essence of mortal sin and suffering, a tide of despair that fed the fires of Lucifer's kingdom. He drew power from this river, his throne glowing brighter with each soul that plunged into the infernal depths. The river's banks were lined with the damned, their hands clawing for salvation that would never come. Shades of kings and peasants alike, their earthly titles meaningless in this place of eternal night. Each soul was a note in Lucifer's symphony of pride, a reminder of the power he held over mortal fate. Lucifer walked these banks often, his footsteps leaving trails of smoldering ash. His beauty was undiminished in this land of horror. If anything, it was made more terrible by the contrast. The damned would weep at his passing, some in terror, others in twisted adoration. For even in his damnation, Lucifer was still the morning star, his radiance a lure, his voice a siren's call that promised freedom, but delivered only chains. In the infernal palace of Pandemonium, Lucifer ruled with a hand of velvet and steel. His court was a theater of sin, each archdemon playing their part in the endless dance of pride and power. Thrones of skulls lined the great hall, each seat occupied by a soul who had bartered everything for a taste of infernal majesty. The court was alive with whispers, temptations offered and secrets traded. Succubi and incubi drifted through the halls like living shadows, their every glance a promise of pleasure and damnation. Imps scuttled through the corridors, carrying messages written in blood and bound by oaths older than the world. Lucifer himself sat at the head of this court, a figure of impossible beauty and horror. His eyes held the light of a dying sun, and his voice was the music of ruin. He listened to the endless petitions of his subjects, granting boons and curses with a smile that was both mercy and mockery. To look upon Lucifer was to be reminded that beauty can be a weapon, and that the greatest evils often wear the fairest masks. Even in his exile, Lucifer's influence reached beyond the infernal gates. He saw in mortal hearts the same seeds of pride that had doomed him, the hunger for power, the thirst for forbidden knowledge. And so he fashioned the art of the pact, the infernal bargain that would bind mortals to his will. The lore of these pacts is as old as humanity itself. Kings and conquerors, poets and philosophers, all have felt the pull of Lucifer's promise. In exchange for their souls, he offers wealth, wisdom, or power beyond mortal reckoning. These bargains are always sealed in blood, a ritual that binds the soul to the darkness forevermore. Lucifer takes a particular pleasure in these pacts. Each mortal soul that bends the knee is another victory in his war against the Creator, a testament to the power of pride and the futility of virtue. His words are honeyed poison, his contracts ironclad, and once the bargain is struck, there is no turning back. The mortal becomes a pawn in the infernal game, a spark of fleeting glory in a kingdom of eternal night. Throughout the ages, Lucifer has sought to turn not just the wicked, but the righteous. For each soul he corrupts, no matter how wretched, is another stone in his tower of pride. But to drag down a saint, to twist the purest hearts into instruments of his will, this is the true triumph of the morning star. There are tales of holy men and women who, in their moments of doubt, heard Lucifer's voice. He comes not as a monster, but as an angel still, his beauty unearthly, his words soft as silk. He offers them visions of a world remade, of salvation forged through strength, of justice born in fire. To the weary and the broken, his lies are sweeter than any prayer. Some resist. Their faith is a fortress that even Lucifer's whispers cannot breach. But others waver, and in that hesitation, Lucifer strikes. He takes no joy in brute force. His victory is in the soul that falls willingly, convinced that the darkness is light and that pride is the highest virtue. Yet for all his power, Lucifer is himself bound. The Creator's decree is absolute. He may rule in hell, but he will never reclaim the heights of heaven. His kingdom is a cage of his own making, each soul that joins his legions, another chain around his heart. The fires of hell that warm his throne are also the fires that scorch his soul, a reminder that he is both sovereign and prisoner. This torment is the price of pride. Lucifer, who once soared among the stars, is now a king of ashes and ruin. His beauty endures, but it is a beauty sharpened by rage and regret. In his darkest moments, he remembers the light he once embodied and knows that he can never return. He has become the Prince of Pride, but at the cost of everything that once made him the morning star. Even in the infernal gloom, Lucifer cannot forget the music of the spheres. In the quiet of his throne room, he sometimes hears the echo of those celestial songs, a memory that cuts deeper than any blade. It is said that he weeps in those moments, not tears of remorse, but of rage that such perfection can exist beyond his grasp. To the damned who see these moments of sorrow, it is a mystery and a terror. For in those tears they glimpse the angel he once was, and they understand that the greatest tragedy of hell is not its torment, but the beauty that pride has forever lost. Lucifer's story has woven itself into the tapestry of mortal myth. In every culture there are echoes of the morning star, names and legends that speak of the light that fell. In the West, he is the devil, the adversary who tempts and deceives. In the East, he is the spirit of ambition, the force that drives mortals to reach beyond their place. Some see him as a tragic figure, a fallen hero whose only crime was to dream too high. Others see him as the very embodiment of evil, the architect of all mortal suffering. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in the shadows. Lucifer is both, beauty corrupted and darkness crowned, a symbol of what happens when pride becomes a god. Lucifer's war against the light did not end with his fall. From his infernal throne, he watches the mortal world with hungry eyes. Each soul is a battlefield, each choice a skirmish in the eternal war. He whispers to mortals in their dreams, weaving lies that taste like truth, planting seeds of doubt and pride. He is patient. He is eternal. And he knows that the greatest victories are not won by force, but by the soul that chooses the darkness willingly. In every mortal who succumbs to temptation, Lucifer sees a reflection of himself, the morning star who would not bow. Hell's fires never sleep, nor does Lucifer's ambition. Though cast down and bound to the realm of shadows, he never abandoned his war against the Creator. In every mortal heart, he saw a battlefield, an opportunity to wage his rebellion, not with armies of angels, but with the fragile, flickering souls of humankind. Lucifer's war is not fought with swords and shields, but with temptation, lies, and the seductive power of pride. He is the whisper that comes in moments of doubt, the promise of power when virtue grows weary. He does not force, he entices. His weapons are words sharper than any blade, and his soldiers are mortals who do not even realize they fight for him. Throughout the ages, Lucifer has orchestrated countless campaigns against the light. Kingdoms have risen and fallen by his hand, empires corrupted from within by the poison of pride. He has no need to appear in the flesh. His influence seeps like smoke into the hearts of rulers and peasants alike. Where there is ambition, where there is desire for more, there is Lucifer's shadow. History's greatest empires have felt his touch. In the palaces of pharaohs, in the marble halls of Rome, in the courts of kings and queens, Lucifer's voice has always been heard. He whispers of conquest and dominion, of glory that transcends mortal flesh. He feeds the pride of emperors, telling them that their power is not a gift, but a right, that they deserve to rule the world as gods. These rulers, drunk on the wine of Lucifer's promises, become instruments of his will. Their cruelty, their ambition, their hunger for immortality, they build monuments to their pride, not knowing that each stone laid is another step down the road to damnation. And when their empires crumble into dust, Lucifer stands laughing in the shadows, for he knows that the fall of the mighty is sweeter than any crown. Lucifer's war is not waged solely against the wicked. The pure of heart, the saints and martyrs who stand as beacons of light, are his true prey. To corrupt a tyrant is no great challenge, but to break the will of a saint, to turn a soul of perfect devotion into a vessel of pride, that is the victory that Lucifer craves above all. He comes to them in visions, cloaked in beauty and sorrow. He speaks of justice, of righteous fury, of a world that must be torn down to be remade. He tells them that they too can be saviors, if only they abandon the chains of humility and seize the power that is rightfully theirs. Some saints resist, their faith a shield that even Lucifer's whispers cannot pierce. But some falter, and in that faltering they become his greatest trophies, angels in mortal flesh, twisted into demons by the belief that their will is divine. Lucifer is not a beast of mindless hunger. He is a prince of philosophy, a thinker whose pride is matched only by his intellect. In the infernal libraries of Pandemonium, he has written countless tomes, treatises on power, freedom, and the nature of the soul. These volumes, bound in the skin of the damned and inked in blood, are treasures of hell's court. In these dark philosophies, Lucifer justifies his rebellion. He argues that servitude is a crime against the self, that the Creator's will is a prison that denies the beauty of pride. He calls himself the liberator of souls, the champion of self-sovereignty. In his mind, he is not the villain of creation's story, but its tragic hero, the one who dared to question the order of things and was punished for his defiance. To those who listen, his arguments are as seductive as his beauty. He speaks of the tyranny of blind obedience, of the dignity of the self-made ruler. And in every mortal who listens, every soul who begins to believe that pride is virtue, Lucifer sees a fragment of his own triumph. Lucifer's true power lies in subtlety. He does not always come as the morning star, radiant and terrible. More often, he wears the shadows like a cloak, moving unseen through the mortal world. In dreams and in whispers, in fleeting glimpses caught in the corner of an eye, he works his will. He is the shadow behind the throne, the doubt that poisons love, the spark of ambition that turns brother against brother. He takes 1,000 forms, sometimes a serpent, sometimes a lover, sometimes a friend whose words drip with false kindness. Always he is the master of masks, and those who serve him often do not know his true name. This is Lucifer's genius, to turn his victims into their own executioners. He need not lift a finger to see kingdoms burn and souls fall. Pride does his work for him, as it always has. There is a cruel poetry to Lucifer's war. For all his power, he remains forever a mirror of mortality. The same pride that damned him is the pride that lives in every mortal heart. In their endless striving for greatness, in their hunger for meaning and purpose, he sees the echo of his own rebellion. Lucifer is both adversary and reflection. He understands the mortal soul because it is a fragment of the same light he once was. He knows the dreams that drive them, the fears that haunt them, the secret hope that they might become more than the sum of their flesh. And he knows how to twist those dreams into chains. Throughout history, there have been those who sought not just to serve Lucifer in secret, but to call him forth into the mortal world. These are the sorcerers, the witches, the occultists who crave power beyond mortal comprehension. In the midnight hour, beneath blood-soaked moons, they speak the ancient names of the morning star and offer him sacrifices of blood and soul. The rites are as varied as the cultures that birth them. In some, the summoner must give up a piece of their own soul, carving it from their heart with ritual words and symbols. In others, the blood of the innocent is the key that unlocks the infernal gate. Always, the price is steep, for to call forth Lucifer is to open a door that can never be closed. Those who succeed in summoning the morning star often find that the price is more than they imagined. Lucifer does not grant power freely. He binds the summoner in chains of pride and desire, making them slaves to the very power they sought to command. In the end, the mortal who would master the prince of hell becomes his servant, another soul bound to the endless war. In Lucifer's court, the thrones of the damned stand as a testament to his victories. Each throne is forged from the essence of a soul that rose high and fell farther. Kings who believed themselves gods, saints who became demons, poets who traded beauty for immortality. These thrones are not merely seats. They are prisons, binding the damned in eternal service to the Prince of Pride. Lucifer walks among these thrones often, his footsteps echoing in the silent halls of pandemonium. He knows each soul by name, each story by heart. To him, they are trophies and reminders of the power of pride. In their eyes, one can still see the flicker of who they once were, a flicker that only makes their damnation more exquisite. For mortals who serve Lucifer, the rewards are fleeting and the price eternal. He offers power and pleasure, wealth and dominion, but always there is a cost. Each soul that strikes a bargain with the morning star finds that the road to hell is paved with the coins of pride and despair. Some mortals believe they can outwit the Prince of Hell, that they can take what he offers and escape his grasp. They are fools. Lucifer's contracts are ironclad, written in the very language of creation. Once the bargain is struck, the soul is his, and the mortal becomes a pawn in the endless game. In the end, all that remains is the echo of the mortal's laughter, turned to screams as the fires of hell claim them. And in those screams, Lucifer hears the music of his triumph. Yet not all who speak of Lucifer are his servants. There are those who see in his fall a lesson, a parable of the dangers of pride and the beauty of humility. They are the prophets and poets who sing of the morning star, not as a hero to be emulated, but as a warning to those who would follow in his footsteps. These voices are rare, for pride is a seductive melody, but in every age there are those who remember that the light that burns brightest can also become the flame that consumes. They speak of the tragedy of Lucifer, the angel who would not kneel, and in their words, there is both sorrow and wisdom. Lucifer's story is as old as creation and as new as the first ambition of a mortal heart. It is a story that will never die, for it is written in the bones of the world and the dreams of every soul. He is the morning star, the light that fell, the prince of pride who would be God. In every culture, every faith, every whispered legend, his name endures. He is the shadow on the edge of every candle's glow, the hunger in every mortal heart. He is the reminder that beauty can be a curse, and that pride, once embraced, can never be fully exorcised. Lucifer waits in the darkness, patient and eternal. His war is not won with swords or flames, but with the quiet surrender of those who believe that they too can become more than the light allows. In that belief he finds his victory, and in their fall he sees the reflection of his own. Lucifer's legend has transcended faith and dogma, embedding itself in the philosophical marrow of the mortal world. From ancient texts to modern minds, his story is the eternal debate between the sanctity of order and the allure of defiance. To some, he is the first rebel, a symbol of self-actualization and the refusal to kneel. To others, he is the first traitor, a harbinger of endless suffering. In either guise, he endures as a reflection of humanity's own fractured soul. Theologians have long argued over Lucifer's place in the divine plan. Was his fall an accident, a tragic flaw in creation's perfect tapestry? Or was it the first thread in a grand design, a necessary darkness to give the light its brilliance? The question is as eternal as the war between heaven and hell, and in the spaces between answers, Lucifer's laughter echoes. To philosophers of pride and power, Lucifer is a cautionary tale and an icon. He is the patron of those who see the world as a chessboard, of those who believe that greatness is earned, not given. He is invoked by poets who dream of shaking the stars from the sky, and by tyrants who see in his fall the justification for their own conquest. In Lucifer's name, they argue that beauty and power must be seized, no matter the cost. Lucifer's dominion is not merely one of flame and agony, it is also the kingdom of forbidden knowledge. In the mortal realm, knowledge is the birthright of the curious, but in hell, it is the currency of power. The morning star was once the angel of enlightenment, the bearer of divine wisdom. Even in his fall, he did not abandon this role. Instead, he twisted it, offering truth as a poison to those who dare sip from his cup. In the tomes of Pandemonium, Lucifer's knowledge is endless, histories of the cosmos written in the blood of creation, secrets of the stars, the hidden names of angels and demons alike. He does not hoard these secrets, he offers them freely, for he knows that truth can be more deadly than any lie. To mortals, he offers insights that crack the mind and sear the soul. The alchemist who seeks the philosopher's stone, the mage who would bind the elements to his will, the seer who longs to see beyond the veil, all find their answers in Lucifer's court. But these answers are never free. Each revelation comes at the cost of innocence, each secret another link in the chain that binds the seeker to the morning star's will. There is a terrible beauty in Lucifer's kingdom. Hell is not merely a pit of torment, it is a mirror of the mortal soul's own grandeur and ruin. Its towers rise like blackened cathedrals, spires that pierce the churning skies. The rivers of fire that flow through its valleys are as mesmerizing as they are deadly, and the endless plains of bone and ash whisper of forgotten glories. Lucifer's throne is the pinnacle of this terrible beauty. He sits in splendor, a figure of impossible grace and cruelty. His garments shimmer with the stolen light of fallen stars, and his eyes burn with the memory of what he once was. In his court, music is played on strings of sinew, and the air is heavy with the perfume of crushed roses and the tang of iron. The damned who dwell in this kingdom are not merely tormented, they are transformed. Each soul becomes a testament to the power of pride and the price of ambition. Some wear their damnation like a crown, reveling in the power that Lucifer grants them. Others weep in the shadows, their beauty a mockery of what they have become. In this kingdom, despair is an art form, and Lucifer is its master. To enter Lucifer's service is to become part of an ancient and unholy tradition. The rites of initiation are as old as the first soul that ever bartered with the Prince of Pride. These ceremonies are written in languages lost to mortal memory, inscribed in the bones of the earth and the whispers of the void. The initiate must offer not just their soul, but their pride, their ambition, their willingness to forsake the light for the promise of power. The ritual is a mirror of Lucifer's own fall, an echo of the moment when the morning star chose to bow to no one. In the flickering candlelight of these rites, the initiate's shadow grows long and terrible, and when the final words are spoken, there is no turning back. Lucifer himself often attends these rites, his presence a benediction and a curse. He watches with eyes that have seen the birth and death of stars, and when he speaks, his words burn the soul like coals. Those who survive these rites emerge reborn, their spirits branded with the sigil of pride, forever bound to the Prince of Hell. In Pandemonium, power is a game played with the subtlety of a serpent and the ruthlessness of a wolf. The archdemons vie for Lucifer's favor, weaving plots that span centuries and betrayals that echo through the ages. Alliances are made and broken in the same breath, and the only constant is the endless hunger for more. Lucifer watches these games with amusement and approval. He knows that in this crucible of ambition, only the strongest and the most cunning will rise. To him, these intrigues are the purest expression of pride, the final refinement of the souls that chose to follow him. He rewards the victors with power beyond mortal comprehension, and the losers with oblivion, or worse. The court itself is a place of nightmares and wonder. Its halls are lined with mirrors that show not the reflection of the flesh, but the truth of the soul. Its tapestries weave scenes of conquest and ruin, and its fountains run red with the blood of promises broken. In this palace of echoes, every word is a weapon, and every glance a challenge. Lucifer's influence extends beyond the walls of hell. In the mortal realm, his children walk in secret, born of unions between mortal and demon, or summoned forth by rites that defy the natural order. These Nephilim, children of the morning star, carry within them a spark of his radiance and a shadow of his damnation. They are beautiful and terrible creatures who walk the line between light and darkness. Some serve Lucifer willingly, their souls alight with the same pride that damned their father. Others struggle against the curse of their blood, seeking redemption in a world that will never fully accept them. To Lucifer, they are both legacy and amusement, a reminder that even in exile, his seed can shape the mortal world. The Nephilim are hunted by both heaven and hell, for their existence is an affront to the order of creation. But they are also coveted, for in their veins flows the power of an angel's pride and a demon's wrath. In their struggles, Lucifer sees the echo of his own war, a war that began with his fall and will end only when the last star flickers out. Among the damned and the divine alike, there are whispers of a prophecy, a final reckoning in which Lucifer will rise once more to challenge the throne of heaven. Some say this war will be the end of all things, a cataclysm that will consume the stars themselves. Others believe it is a cycle that has played out countless times, each turn of the wheel another echo of that first fatal choice. Lucifer himself does not speak of this prophecy, though in his eyes there is a flicker of amusement, as if he knows a secret that no one else dares to speak. In the depths of hell, he forges weapons of light and shadow, shaping the souls of the damned into instruments of his will. He prepares, as he always has, for the day when pride will rise again to challenge the light. For in Lucifer's heart there is no surrender. He is the morning star still, and even in the depths of hell he dreams of the heavens. His pride is the forge of his kingdom, and it will not rest until the final battle is fought. In the end, Lucifer's story is a paradox, a tale of beauty that became horror, of light that became shadow. He is both the first and the last rebel, the prince who would be king, the angel who became the adversary of all creation. His tragedy is that he was born for greatness and fell for pride, and in his fall he became something that even the Creator cannot unmake. To mortals, his name is both curse and comfort, a reminder that even the brightest can fall, and that the fire of ambition can consume everything it touches. To the damned, he is both tormentor and savior, a God who understands their suffering because he too has been cast down, and to the angels, he is the eternal wound in heaven's heart, the brother who chose pride over paradise. Lucifer's story is not finished. It is written in every act of pride, every whispered temptation, every soul that dreams of more. In the mortal world, his name is a shadow that stretches across the ages, a reminder that light and darkness are never truly separate. The morning star still glimmers, a cruel reminder of beauty corrupted by arrogance, and in that glimmer there is a promise that pride, once born, will never die. In the mortal world, Lucifer's legend did not vanish with the passing of centuries. It evolved, adapted, and embedded itself in the marrow of human belief. Throughout history, there have always been those drawn to the seductive glow of the morning star, seeking power in his name or solace in his defiance. These are the cults of Lucifer, secret societies and hidden orders that worship not the light of heaven, but the fire of pride. In ancient times, these cults took root in the shadows of empires, offering forbidden rites and knowledge in exchange for devotion. Their temples were hidden in the catacombs beneath palaces, their altars lit by candles that burned with black flame. Here, the faithful whispered Lucifer's name, praising his rebellion and begging for a taste of his infernal majesty. The rituals of these cults were as varied as the cultures that birthed them. Some believed Lucifer to be the bringer of enlightenment, the spirit of knowledge who shattered the chains of ignorance. Others saw him as the embodiment of chaos and change, the destroyer of stagnant order. In every case, the worship was a dance of shadows, a rejection of the divine hierarchy in favor of self-deification. In the modern age, the cult of Lucifer has not vanished. It has merely transformed. In the cathedrals of industry and the temples of technology, there are those who see the morning star not as a demon, but as a symbol of human potential unleashed. They speak of Lucifer as the archetype of the rebel, the eternal questioner who refuses to bow. These modern cults are not always gathered in darkened chambers. They exist in universities, in boardrooms, in the whispered conversations of those who see in Lucifer's defiance a reflection of their own. The morning star has become a symbol of resistance against the tyranny of tradition, a patron saint of those who would shatter the chains of convention. Yet for all their clever words, the price remains the same. Lucifer's bargains do not change with the passing of centuries. Pride is the hook that binds, and in the end, the soul that seeks his light finds only the endless night. The myth of Lucifer has inspired countless works of art, from the fevered dreams of poets to the visions of painters who sought to capture the paradox of his beauty and damnation. In the Renaissance, he was the tragic angel in Milton's Paradise Lost, a figure of sorrow and grandeur who fell not for hatred, but for the refusal to kneel. In the paintings of Blake and Doré, he was a figure of tragic majesty, wings spread against the blackness of oblivion. In modern literature, Lucifer has become the archetype of the anti-hero, the fallen prince whose defiance shapes the world. In horror fiction, he is the serpent in the garden, the tempter whose beauty hides a pit of endless ruin. In the fevered prose of dark romantics, he is the doomed lover of the soul, offering forbidden fruits that taste of both rapture and damnation. This artistic legacy is a testament to the power of his myth. Even those who curse his name cannot help but be drawn to the mystery of his fall. In every brushstroke and every verse, there is the echo of his eternal struggle, the light that fell, the pride that could not be tamed. Lucifer is not bound to a single face or form. His beauty is a weapon that shifts and changes to meet the heart of the soul he seeks to claim. To some he appears as the angel he once was, radiant and sorrowful, his every word a balm to the wounds of pride. To others, he comes as the serpent, coiling words that promise wisdom at the cost of the soul. In some tales, he is the lover who whispers secrets in the dark, his touch a promise of ecstasy and oblivion. In others, he is the friend who offers comfort when the world grows cold, his kindness a chain of silk that binds as surely as iron. Always he wears the face the mortal longs to see, for in that longing lies the seed of their ruin. Lucifer's greatest power is not in the thunder of hell's legions, but in the quiet seduction of the heart. He does not force, he invites. And in the acceptance of that invitation, the mortal becomes both betrayer and betrayed, another soul caught in the web of pride. For all his guises, Lucifer's goal remains unchanged, the triumph of pride over humility, of self over service. His kingdom is built on this foundation, and every soul that joins his cause becomes a strand in the endless web of damnation. This web is not made of iron or flame, but of choice. In each moment of temptation, in every decision born of pride, the soul binds itself tighter to the morning star's will. The damned do not always realize their bondage, for pride blinds even as it empowers. They believe themselves free, even as they dance to the music of Lucifer's laughter. This is the true horror of his dominion, that it is chosen, not imposed. The chains of hell are woven from the soul's own desires, and in that weaving, Lucifer's victory is complete. As the mortal world marches forward, Lucifer's myth is reborn in every generation. In the flickering screens of horror films, he is the suave villain, the charming deceiver whose smile hides an abyss. In the pages of dark fantasy, he is the prince who tempts the hero to abandon their quest for the promise of easier triumphs. In music and art, he is the muse of the disillusioned, the voice that calls from the edge of madness and ambition. Yet beyond the glamour and the Gothic allure, there remains the truth of his story, a soul that would not bow, a beauty that became a curse. The myth of Lucifer endures because it speaks to the deepest fears and dreams of humanity, the fear of falling and the dream of rising beyond every limit. Lucifer's kingdom is not confined to the fiery pits of hell. It lives in every mortal heart that chooses pride over compassion, ambition over humility. In the corridors of power, in the shadows of the internet, in the quiet spaces of the soul where secrets fester, his voice is always present. He does not need to show himself, for his spirit moves through the world like a fever. In the lies whispered by those who would rule at any cost, in the betrayals of those who would sell love for glory, in the endless cycle of pride and ruin, there Lucifer is king. The damned are not always the wretched or the obvious. They are the beautiful, the brilliant, the ambitious, who believe that their power excuses all sins. They are the dreamers who will sacrifice everything for a glimpse of eternity. And in their fall, Lucifer finds his triumph renewed. In the quiet of the night, when the world is still and the soul is laid bare, Lucifer's whispers are the loudest. He does not rage or scream. He speaks with the voice of every doubt and every desire. He reminds the soul of its potential, its beauty, its power, and in that reminder he plants the seed of his kingdom. Those who hear his whispers feel both terror and wonder, for he speaks not only of damnation, but of possibility. He does not offer chains, he offers a crown, and to the soul that has known the bitterness of humility, that crown is worth any price. This is the final cruelty of Lucifer, that his promise is not entirely false. In his kingdom, there is power, there is beauty, there is the freedom to become more than any mortal dares to dream. But it is a freedom that devours, a beauty that burns, a power that can never be sated. Lucifer's legacy is a paradox, a testament to the power of pride and the price of its embrace. He is the light that fell and the darkness that rose, the eternal adversary whose beauty is both a blessing and a curse. In every soul that stands at the crossroads of temptation, his story is told anew. To worship him is to worship the self, to believe that the soul can be its own God. To fear him is to fear the hunger for greatness that lives in every heart. And to understand him is to see the line between light and darkness not as a wall, but as a mirror. In the end, Lucifer remains what he has always been, the morning star, the prince of pride, the beautiful horror that reminds the world that the greatest evil wears the fairest face, and so the tale of Lucifer, the morning star, echoes through the ages, a song of light and shadow that never ends. His kingdom of flame and despair is built on the bones of the fallen, but also on the dreams of those who would be more than mortal. In his story, there is both tragedy and triumph, a testament to the power of pride and the eternal beauty of defiance. He is the prince of a kingdom that can never be undone, for it lives in the hearts of those who choose ambition over humility. His throne is built on the stars that fell with him, and his crown is the fire of his own ruin. In every soul that yearns for more, in every dream that dares to challenge the light, the morning star glimmers still. And in that glimmer there is both promise and doom, an eternal reminder that even the brightest light can become the deepest shadow, and that pride, once embraced, can never be unmade.